Hello, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to LA2M. We're excited you're here today. My name is Jim Musial, and I'm going to be kicking off today's meeting and our talk with some excellent speakers. So, just a quick show of hands. Do we have anybody here for the first time? I think everyone. Okay, well, welcome. We're glad you're here. We hope you come back again. On the table in front of you, there's some little LA2M business cards. Feel free to take one and tack it up on your board so you remember each month that we're here, or you can pass it out to a colleague, take an extra one. You're more than welcome to share them. Have plenty of them if you'd like it. So we appreciate you coming, and the best thing you can do is tell a friend and bring back a friend next month and come and visit us. So a couple things real quick before we get started with our talk today and our speakers. I think everybody, but for the new people, most people know how this works. We do a quick introduction. And then Paul and Scott are going to take over for about 30-40 minutes at the most, go through their talk. If you have some questions during the talk, I'm sure they'll be happy to answer questions. Otherwise, we'll do some Q&A at the end. And then at the end, we'll have an opportunity to pass around the microphone. You can introduce yourself, do a quick intro and a quick ask or need if you have it. And that way we can all get to know each other and help each other do business. And then afterwards, we'll have some time to network, and I'm sure the speakers will stick around for a few minutes if you have some more questions or want to say hello. So LA2M, this is our 8th year. We're very excited to continue to grow and continue to bring great marketing programs to you guys. But LA2M exists because of people like you and because of our volunteers. We all work for free. This is a nonprofit, and we couldn't do it without all the people that help out. We live stream video. Roger Rayle handles the video up here in the front. Carter Sherline takes pictures of each event, and then we'll post them on our Facebook page for LA2M. If you are checking in or streaming or tweeting, use the hashtag LA2M or at LA2M on Instagram. What else can we tell you? Let's see. I think that's about it. We're excited you're here. You can order lunch if you don't already know that. The staff will come around and feel free to order lunch for yourself. We normally have sponsors as well. We don't have a sponsor this month. If you are interested or would like to talk to me about sponsoring one of our upcoming sessions, we'll certainly be happy to talk to you about that. If your company, if you'd like to do some promotion for your company, we'd be happy to talk to you about that. So that's all I have. So I'd love to turn the microphone over to our speakers today. We're very fortunate to have Paul Clancy and Scott DeRoche from Daniel Bryan Advertising. I've known Scott for a while, and actually, if any of you guys went to Bud's Digital Marketing Workshop, Scott has been a regular speaker there as well, and one of the presenters. So we're very fortunate to have both these guys have a lot of experience in digital marketing and analytics, and that's a lot of stuff that we struggle with as marketing people and as business owners. We need to understand how we can market our own business and the things we do and track them. So it's really important. So I'm going to let Paul and Scott take over from here, and which, if you could join me in welcoming them. Thank you.
Right. Great. Well, yeah, thanks so much for having us here. This is great. Scott DeRoche. I'm the Director of Digital Media at Daniel Bryan Advertising. We're a full-service advertising agency and digital media agency in Rochester, Michigan. So I'm also an Ann Arbor native, so it's nice to be home here for this presentation. I didn't have to drive very far. So I'm also a former small business owner. So I got a lot of my digital marketing experience firsthand, trying to promote my business online through a number of different channels. Through website development, content development, learning all about SEO, and then ultimately paid digital platforms. Or I guess I should say, I'll kind of represent the small business side of the story here. And I've also brought Paul Clancy with us here, who has a lot of enterprise experience side of things. So we'll kind of have this conversation of how I approach things from a small business standpoint versus kind of more the enterprise level of things. So with that, dive in here. Yeah, do you want to?
Yeah, sure. Well, also thanks for having me out. One of the things when I first interviewed Scott at our former agency together at Donor, thing that I liked about his small business ownership is he had gone through a lot of the things that the decision makers that I was working with, more on larger marketing teams, were going through, and just had that firsthand knowledge of the decisions and challenges that face a business. So it's a great asset that Scott has, and you're vice president and director. I don't know if you said director, but what I do at Daniel Bryan Advertising now is I lead the media team for our customers. We've got 12, and they span smaller budgets from a few $100,000 all the way up to millions of dollars. And as Scott said, what I want to bring to the table is how those media and marketing teams scale their functional business to include things other than digital. So that's what I'll be bringing to the table today. A little bit about Daniel Bryan. We just put a list up there. It's not a shameless plug. It's just to give you guys a sense of that we're providing digital services across the big digital elements that you see up here, from Facebook and paid social programs, search engine marketing, display video, and all of those components of digital marketing. But many of our clients have the scale where they need to introduce still broadcast, or what we call terrestrial, which means it's not digital streaming, and those round out their media mix. So the modern media plan for a lot of the companies we work with include elements of broadcast TV, radio, and print, as well as some of the digital things that we're going to be going deeper on. So,
yeah, that's right. So just kind of looking at some of these digital channels that we have listed here, what does it mean to have an integrated multi-channel digital marketing program? So as a small business owner, there are a lot of factors to consider, and sometimes the competition is huge. So I in particular owned an e-commerce business that was selling music-related items. So I was up against Amazon and some other really large retailers, so whose budgets seem to be infinite. So I needed to look at what was the most effective ability, channels essentially to get started with in digital marketing. So that meant a number of things, through the development of a website and trying to make sure we have great content on there, and optimizing that website through kind of SEO best practices, and trying to make sure that we appeared organically in search. But then it also meant using AdWords and Bing ads and paid social, and developing a social media strategy. So there were a number of things that we looked at from a small business standpoint that were able to get us, get our message out to our core audience, and to help us develop that audience along the way. So a lot of different touch points. So
yeah, just to add to that, that I think one of the characteristics of a multi-channel digital marketing program is obvious from the term. It means more than one channel that you're actively working and investing time and money into, but it's understanding what that channel's influence is on the other channels. So today's marketer just can't afford to look at how a particular channel performs in isolation. They need to understand the dynamics of levers, if you will, that if I increase investment or do that, what's the influence of that on this other channel, and how do I get a amplified effect when all these channels work together? And that's both, as you would probably guess, a science and an art. But today's marketer is not able to simply run. Maybe 15, 20 years ago, if you wanted to scale your business, the recipe was pretty simple. You need to do broadcast television locally. Let me just pause here, because I want to make sure I understand what the group's, considerations are from budget. I don't want to go off and talk about, $20 million plan. So is there anyone in the group here working with budgets in excess of $1 million, or anyone? Okay, so
And are there any small business owners by chance, or people that work in the small business
Okay, so
field? Okay.
Yeah,
Great, great.
that helps. So,
Yeah.
But for larger marketers, even locally, if they wanted to scale their business and open up a couple of new locations, it meant running local radio commercials and television, which relative to the reach that you can get with a digital program was very costly, and it lacked a component really of response analytics. So you could measure it, you would get some statistics on who you reached with a radio commercial, but nothing like what you can get with today's digital platform. So the fragmentation of media has occurred, and it's tipped. I like to tell people that these devices tip the scale. So a lot of people think because we're not consuming broadcast television like we were, that we're consuming less media, but that is not the case. We're actually consuming a couple hours a day more media, and it's harder to reach that business person or consumer with your marketing plans because the fragmentation started with cable TV and it's continued with digital devices. So that understanding integrated marketing means looking at those channels that the fragmented consumer is using and understanding which of those are going to give you the most marketing impact.
Yeah, and kind of the beauty of this is this multi-channel approach is that it allows us to really take that message, take our core products, and present it to an audience that's very interested, very targeted, and it allows us, as opposed to the kind of in the past, the kind of spray and pray approach of mass media, it allows us to really very accurately, very targeted, present a message that's very personalized and very specific and precise to our potential clients. The interesting thing that I always find too in working with Paul is that I find a lot of the small business strategies are really similar to the enterprise level strategies, and we do a lot of exchange of ideas and how can we apply some core growth hack ideas that a startup might apply. How do we apply that to an enterprise? And vice versa. How do we take a large multimedia approach to a smaller business? So it's kind of interesting how the two strategies kind of work together and truly it is a truly scalable kind of approach to things. Yeah. So the kind of the problem with this stuff though is that there are so many programs out right now. It can be, we talk about some of the basic places you need to be. You need to be in paid search. You need to be on social. You need to have a paid social program. You need to do SEO. You need to do content development, audience outreach. And there are so many programs. There's so many things out there. This is just a list of some of the programs that are out there. It might be a little bit difficult to read, but there are thousands of programs designed for this. So the marketplace is dense. It's complex. And so we talk about this in terms of where do we get started, especially as a small business owner. Yeah, Jim.
Scott, you showed us this thing, and that's just daunting to look at.
Yeah.
How do you narrow it down for what's right for my business? Right.
And so the beauty of it is that even though this is a really dense marketplace, actually it kind of leads into, we've got, a little further down the line here, but from a small business standpoint, you can very directly target on some of these websites. So through Google AdWords, for example, you have access to one of the largest audiences in the world on Google. So very easily, very quickly, we can get onto Google AdWords, and you can just start by buying your brand terms. A lot of people might think, I don't want to do that, I rank organically for my brand. But the beauty of just starting with that is that maybe for a few dollars a day, you're getting data. It's coming in, you've got your brand out there, you're able to present a different message on Google with that, hopefully that ad that's right at the top for your business, and you can promote whatever maybe you have a local promotion going, 10% off on Fridays or something that your organic result might not show. So that's, a quick and easy way to get started for a small business is through AdWords. Same thing with paid social and social media in general. If you can get started with a social media page for your business and start developing an audience online, it's a great way to interact. You can also have Twitter and maybe a LinkedIn profile, things like that. So there's multiple social components to an overall marketing strategy, and then you can promote those through paid now. So paid on Facebook, paid media on Twitter and LinkedIn. So it's a really great way to amplify that message. As things get more complex, we show some of these, all these many programs that are out there. A lot of these have to do with optimization of media, analytics, and the analysis of your media. Once you start to get a lot of data coming in from all these multiple channels, it starts to, you need to save money. So that's a big component of that is through the optimization element. But the core concept is that you can very easily and quickly get on some of these channels.
Yeah, just to,
As a one-man team, how do you, that's a lot of time on social media if you're on all platforms. And there's software out there that can assist you. But how can you narrow down what vehicle is good for your business? Versus Twitter, versus Facebook.
Sure.
You know, is your audience really on Twitter, or is it more on Facebook?
I'll address that, Scott.
Sure.
I would say Google and Facebook. Those are the two largest audience delivery systems in the world, where you just need $5 and a credit card, and the knowledge base that exists on the internet that's free on YouTube that you can just Google is awesome. So for a small business owner, I think it's a huge asset that you can Google Facebook ads and put the headphones on, learn about Facebook. There's a very low barrier to entry for both of those software. So that's the short answer, is I would be on Google and Facebook. Your audience is there. They're going to be there. I mean, everyone's using those two digital platforms.
Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, and that's the social component of it. And every business is going to be a little bit different. Your core audience might resonate more with some Facebook posts, maybe a Facebook post that has a promotion. I mentioned the Friday 10% off coupon versus an audience that might resonate more with an Instagram feed. So that's the social component, and it's going to vary by the type of business that you are and the type of audience that you have. So that's one component of it. But one of the interesting things about this, though, is that we do talk about the scalable element of it, and kind of the beauty from a small business standpoint, especially if you're a one-person, owner of a business, that you can incorporate a lot of these different elements of digital marketing. So we talk about the self-service nature, like Paul said, that all you need is $5 and a credit card to get started on Google AdWords, for example, and buying some of your core keywords and trying to show a relevant text ad. And the same thing too with some of the paid social components that we mentioned. It's great. And so again, it's really the scalable nature of it. Again, the pay for performance. So if that $5 a day is working well for you and you start to see leads coming in, you can expand your core keyword set, buying some of the various service lines or some of the various products that you might offer. So in my case, where we were competing against Amazon and Guitar Center and whatnot for music-related gear, we started with some of our core products, and that's all we did. Bought some brand keywords, bought a few of the core products, and watched the data coming in. Started to realize that, wow, some of these niche products, we might not get as many searches for them, but when we do, people buy things from them. So, we started exploring some of the sort of niche elements and stayed away from some of the really big ticket items that Amazon probably would dominate on. So that's one element of it. And then ultimately, just you can define your own goals and KPIs, and it's very flexible in that sense. So like I mentioned, certain keywords were performing well, certain products that were maybe not the most in demand, but when people did search for them, they engaged with us and interacted. That was one kind of nice flexible element of this product, of this development.
So Scott, when you have that niche product,
yeah,
something unique, how do you then take that data? Maybe you're going to talk about this, and I don't want to steal your thunder if you are.
Right.
But how do you take that data then and expand upon it?
Sure,
How do you reach out to those people that you say, okay, here's people here's people that like black phone cases.
Yeah.
How do I now go find people that love black phone cases?
Absolutely. Yeah, and this is one of the, I'm sure Paul will address this too, one of the scalable aspects of digital marketing is that on a small business standpoint, just from a keyword level, we noticed that people were had a higher propensity to click on certain keywords. So like I mentioned, some of those real niche products. Maybe you only got 10 searches a month or a few hundred searches a month, but we noticed that they clicked a lot more. So that's the KPI element. We started to develop what are the sort of key performance indicators for some of those particular keywords. And so we looked at click-through rate. What's the engagement rate of some of these keywords? And it was clearly different. Some of the high volume keywords had really low click-through rates. Some of these niche keywords had really high click-through rates. And then we further measured that using Google Analytics, which is free to install if you haven't done so. It's a great way to measure engagement within your website. So externally on Google and Facebook where we were advertising, we measured that internally on the website. So some of those high click-through rate keywords also had really great conversion rates. People landed on our website and they also purchased those products. So it was through a process of elimination of monitoring that data and noticing that some keywords that we were purchasing just didn't convert very well, and ultimately the cost, the lifetime cost per conversion of some of those keywords just simply got too high. The return on investment was not great enough for us. So it was a process of either reducing or eliminating entirely certain keyword sets that we were bidding on to ultimately increasing or expanding on the keywords that were converting for us. Kind of same thing goes for other channels too. It's, you can look at it in channels in aggregate, or very specifically referencing Google with keyword level data. But we see the same thing with enterprise level. It's just much larger.
Right. So I would say, going back to that very intimidating landscape of all the software choices, I think I would add between self-service and adjustable budgets. One of the things that would filter out probably half of those software packages that could help you with your marketing what is a try before you buy, easy in, easy out. And today's modern software tools allow you to, 30-day trial. I'll give you an example because I'm a .com survivor. If you wanted the email program as a company, whether you're a small business owner or not, you needed $50,000, $60,000. There was a big contract with ExactTarget. They wouldn't even answer your phone calls if you were a small business person, probably because they knew that it wasn't going to make sense for a business with 300 email addresses to buy their software. Today, you could go online with MailChimp or Emma and put your credit card in. They'll give you 30 days free. You can, try to do some email sends, and if it doesn't work for you or you don't have time, you can just pull your credit card out or cancel it, and you're done. So I think that was intentionally put up there to intimidate people. It is dense, as Scott said, but the good news, I think, for the small business owners, there's plenty of really capable marketing software that you can get that will scale, and it's available for $25 a month or very small amounts of money for your team. So these are just really to help you guys understand when you're interacting with the marketing tool. It should have these characteristics. If there's a big paper contract, for example, if you need to put in a minimum amount, make a minimum dollar commitment, it's probably not a good characteristic for what we're talking about.
Yep. Yeah, another example, just to throw it out there. For example, with SEO, for example, I would recommend installing and signing up for the Google Search Console and Bing Webmaster Tools, because it's a great way to monitor your SEO and sort of online organic keyword development and your sort of ranking of your website online, and it's free. Beyond that, if you want to expand and start to optimize more, there's products like Moz and whatnot that do start to get into that contract, so you can that $100 a month contract where you are committed to a little bit more but it allows you, it gives you a lot more insight into the development of your website. So again, it's very scalable and it's something that you can work with along the way.
Was there a question back there?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, well, you kind of touched on it, but I was just going to say, what would be your marketing stack? What would you recommend for a small business what should be in their marketing stack?
What's the success metric that you should look at?
The stack.
Oh, stack.
Yeah.
Oh, I said stat. I'm sorry. The Google stack. I mean, there's Google Analytics is free. Out of the box, it will answer questions like how many people from Facebook come to my website. It will give you your referrals. So Google's free, and out of the box gives you channel integrated marketing volumes, and you can find out what those people do on your website. If they, if you're not running e-commerce, just expressing business interest by downloading a white paper that you produce, or just adding yourself to a newsletter contact list, those can be simple success metrics. So your layer or foundation in that stack is Google Analytics. That is very easy to install on your website. I think everyone here knows you should have a website. So if you don't have that, your first part of the stack would be your website. Then analytics, and then right after that, you can start layering in some of the organic or free traffic tools like Scott talked about. Google offers Search Console, so that's part of the stack. That basically gives you intelligence on getting free and long-term traffic to your website. After that, after you get your baseline analytics website done and you get your organic taken care of, that's when you get into some of these paid integrated options like Facebook and Google.
Yep. Yeah.
We're in a professional service consulting business.
Sure.
Is there evidence that the Google path works for the consumer businesses but not so well for other businesses like ours? Or would you say to give the same advice to any kind of business? Start with Google.
Yeah, every business is going to be a little bit different. There's certain elements that we would maybe emphasize over another. But as Paul mentioned, the Google stack is always a great place just to begin in terms of any given website. So beyond just the initial development of your website, we recommend installing Google Analytics just to get the initial collection of data going. So that's the free analytics package. The Google Search Console is the webmaster tools platform or program that Google also offers. It's free and gives you a lot of insight into the organic nature of keywords that people are searching on that they'll ultimately land on your website for, visit your website. It also gives great insight into any sort of issues or errors that might be sort of suppressing the results of your website in organic search. So if you have any server issues, broken links, things like that, it'll inform you. So those are two great places to start. So between analytics and the Search Console, that's sort of a great place to start in terms of measurement, organic development of your website through search, and then we often, the next place to go, as Paul mentioned, is sort of the paid nature of things, which you're talking about paid search on Google as well as Bing, which we often see ends up being 20 or 30%. It's not as large as Google, obviously, but it can be important and represents a certain demographic of people, especially people who use PCs that have default Bing search engines and whatnot. So that's a really great place to start. And then, as I've mentioned, also the social media component. So that initial development of a page on Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn based on the nature of your business. And again, you mentioned that like the consulting element. So I would think LinkedIn might be a really important element of that. And there are paid options within LinkedIn as well. So you can target people with certain professional titles in their profile, for example, that might be interested in your business. So.
Are you guys going to talk about closed marketing and some of those tools eventually? I
don't think there's any a specific slide, but
yeah, I mean that's the concept of a stack. A technology stack enables you to do closed loop marketing, and it just simply means I'll just say what closed loop marketing means to me is from the point of the message when it's introduced to your audience to the time that they do what you'd like them to do, you have vision all the way through that process and those steps. And the challenge with most, I'll say, business to businesses is that it's often a very long, sales cycle. So that they could have 18 touch points, for example, from seminars and, consortium meetings to email newsletters or other things that you might be doing in your marketing group. And it's more of a challenge, I would say, for a B2B, 6-month sales cycle to do closed loop marketing versus, some of the things we've been talking about, which are lower consideration. You want a case for your phone that's $30. You're not going to spend more than a day on that decision probably. So it's a lot easier to see because it's faster and there's a shorter distance between the stimulus and response. It's easier to analyze, but to add to your response, Scott, I think it's exactly the same set of tools for B2B consulting or professional services. The success metric typically changes. So Google Analytics would still be able to tell you, we do a lot of, I'll say, seminar marketing. We promote a seminar and we get business people or our target audience to come to the seminar. You would do LinkedIn and a blog post to promote the seminar, but on your website, hopefully you've got something that says, sign up here, and the success metric on that website would tell you you've got 10 signups, and Google Analytics would be able to tell you where I got those 10 signups, how did they come to my website, what marketing channel drove them all the way through to my success metric. So that's just a quick example of how, I don't think it matters between the two.
Throw in one little technical tidbit too, just to mention it. It's something that we work with, especially with some of the enterprise scale clients, that if you are advertising on LinkedIn or Facebook, for example, we recommend that you tag your ads with a UTM parameter, especially if you're using Google Analytics. Google has a free tool if you just search for UTM Builder. And basically you would just, when you create the ad, for example, on Facebook or LinkedIn, you would give it the landing page for your the ad or the service that you're trying to promote. Let's say it's yourbusiness.com, / consulting or whatever, wherever you wanted to drive your clients to. You would then append the end of that URL with a little UTM parameter, and it's an urchin tracking parameter, I think is what it stands for. But and you can call out your source, so say LinkedIn. You can call out the channel, so for example, paid social, and then you can give it a campaign name or something like that. That then feeds that data to Google Analytics. And so Google Analytics would then know, not only did they come from LinkedIn, which Google Analytics should recognize, but then it'll know, oh, this is actually one of your campaigns, your paid campaigns. So you can measure that specifically in analytics, as opposed to just knowing that it's from LinkedIn in general. So, just really quickly, we kind of touched on this a little bit, but I like to call this out just because the top websites in the United States are, sometimes people don't realize this, but Google's obvious. Everybody is familiar with Google and probably uses it quite regularly. YouTube is actually the #2 search engine in the United States, if you haven't heard that before. It's just a huge website in terms of volume, so there's great opportunities to reach a lot of people there. And then followed by Facebook. But sometimes the 4th, 5th, and 6th are a little surprising to me, because sometimes people don't realize how many people use Bing and MSN and ultimately and Yahoo as well. I still have my Yahoo email from like 1997 or something that I use. So there are a lot of people on these channels, and I just want to kind of mention that really quickly because it's a great place to continue to reach people.
Let me give a plug in to YouTube. I also want to point out that YouTube video advertising is available through Google AdWords and the search engine marketing tool that Google gives you, so you can create and start a video-based ad through Google AdWords just as easily as the small text ads. the costs are and budgets are the same, so you could start marketing on YouTube with a video for a few dollars a day to try it out. And another great attribute of YouTube is for a business, they give you what's called a channel. And there it's free to host and build videos that would support your marketing business. And even though I work at an ad agency and we do finished, polished TV commercials and videos for tens of thousands of dollars, a lot of the valuable, useful marketing content on YouTube is closer to what Roger is doing, where we just, handheld camera. Can I ask what your professional service is? Is it like accounting or legal or consult?
Corporate innovation.
Corporate innovation. So, you might do a 2-minute just talking head. This is what I think about how the challenges for corporate innovation today, and a lot of people on YouTube look for those things, and YouTube does a good job of suggesting content, just like all the other great media outlets do in digital. And just that little video, it might only be seen by 15 or 20 people, but I think probably in your business it's like, I just need one, right? I just need one customer to read that. So it's also free to build your own channel on YouTube, and another great free marketing tool. I would add that to the Google stack in your marketing plan, that if you're not putting a YouTube out there for your company, you should start that. Yep.
All right. So just a quick deep dive into search here. So I'd just like to emphasize the search element of this. Search on Google, search on Bing, search on Yahoo. So many people start their online journeys. You open up your phone or your laptop or your desktop and start with a search on one of these search engines. So we talk about just the kind of optimization elements. Actually, we're talking about YouTube, but it's very similar in that the optimization for certain keywords. So especially very like niche-oriented products. Those very sometimes kind of longer types of search, especially with voice search becoming more and more common. People are searching for very specific things. So if you're optimizing your site for a lot of those very particular keywords, there's a good chance that you'll appear organically on one of the search engines or on YouTube. And we talked about the kind of importance within search, within optimization, to try to achieve some of these upper positions. This is a heat map study that just shows people really look from left to right, top to bottom. So that upper left quadrant is a really important place to be. It's not only important organically, but also it shows the power of paid search to be right there. So a lot of people think, I don't need to do paid search, it's not that important. But it is a great opportunity. You shouldn't overlook it without testing it, because it's a great chance to put an important message right in the upper left-hand side of the page there. And just to kind of prove that, this is a click-through study here that shows that 56% of people, page one clicks originate from the first 3 positions. So if you're in that position 1 on the search engine, that's where a lot of the clicks come from. And it's proven out here too. Just one last thing on search. This is tough to read here, but basically it shows that initially Google started with very clearly differentiated paid search or paid advertisements at the top of the page, and those have gotten more and more transparent as the years have gone on. So a lot of people don't even realize that those are paid ads at the top. So
one of the attributes of the lowly, simple haiku text ads out there is testing. And the cost to produce an ad from 10 years ago has dropped substantially. Google has obviously standardized the text ad to accelerate, the flow of advertising dollars into search engine marketing. And one of the great outcomes of that, once you have some vision into what people are doing on your website with Google Analytics, is just putting simple ads out there to test and see what your audience is going to find attractive. So you can easily take two things. Scott and I worked on a program together for a print shop. And so one of the big things that people needed printed was business cards, but we didn't know what about business cards that audience was, a small business owner was going to respond to. And the competition was putting everything out there from free shipping, first 500 cards free, custom fonts, custom design templates. I mean, there were maybe 9 or 10 attributes that we could feature in the ad, and we just very methodically said, okay, this ad is going to have the same promise, and that's free shipping. This one is going to, feature the font and the design gallery, and we're going to put those all out there to people that are just searching on. Searches are very simple. So business cards is what a small business person would type in if that's what they needed, and Google Analytics gives you immediate, A/B results that say they want the free shipping. If you don't have free shipping featured in the ad, and so you take that learning and you make sure you carry it forward into the next, promotion or ad that you do. So I just wanted to say that always be testing with your digital. The cost of the ad is nothing. So take advantage of the fact that it's very easy to test and learn.
Yeah. And the way I did that too with my small business was to break those campaigns out in AdWords. And then kind of test them. So we would have the different messaging within our campaigns, and I would break those out into different ad groups, different ad sets in each of those ad groups, and we could test those different messages. You could look for things like click-through rate, how what's the propensity of people to click on some of your ads. Does one message resonate better than the other, for example? And then ultimately, when they get to your website, what do they do? Do they make a purchase or not? So through that kind of series of elimination, and then ultimately trying to optimize our ads to make them more engaging, that's how we were able to kind of test some of those different things. I wanted to bring up one little thing. I know we're probably getting a little short on time here, but I wanted to call out one thing that I think is important for local businesses as well as national businesses, franchise type businesses. It's location data, and it's something that's becoming more and more important to a lot of businesses. So local businesses, for example, especially with the social media, Foursquare, Facebook, where it's really easy for people to add a listing. We often see individual businesses might have multiple submissions of their data, and sometimes they have the business name isn't quite right, or it's got the wrong phone number, or maybe the wrong business hours, those sorts of things. It's important to go into some of the available tools and correct some of that information. So I recommend the Google My Business, formerly Google Places, and claiming your local listing, and at least making sure that when people search for your business on Google, that they have that core name, address, phone number information correct on Google. Because once you have that correct on Google, Google aggregates data from all over the place. And so if it finds a lot of incorrect listings all over it, it often may not list your business in that knowledge graph space on the right-hand side of the page. So it's important to kind of clarify that information and make sure it's correct across a number of different channels. We're starting to see this more too with like Waze, for example, and a lot of these real location-based businesses, location-based apps and programs that it's if they don't recognize, or if there's a lot of confusing signals, they may not list your business properly there. So again, it's important to get that information correct. And on sort of an enterprise level, we've done this for some other businesses here too. This is a screenshot of the Yext tool. Moz Local is also an excellent one. But we've seen really great engagement and improvement for businesses that have accurately claimed their listings and clarified their location data. So just a few minutes left here. We can talk about some of the other channels. Do you want to dive into display or paid social?
Display advertising for a small business. So when we say Google, just like with the video YouTube, Google AdWords also allows you to do display advertising, and very, very effectively. it's still the cost model that is great about search ads. So the thing that made Google a $50 billion behemoth was the fact that the advertiser does not pay for that traffic until somebody clicks on the ad. Before that, advertising is, we're going to show your ad to the audience, and if they don't respond to it, you still got to pay us that rate. Google brought to the marketplace a really innovative idea that advertisers have obviously loved, and that is, I don't want to pay for traffic unless they click on my ad. And they did the same thing with display advertising. So these are the banners that you see on web pages, like what's behind us here. And Google allows you to do display advertising just as easily as text ads. It's a little bit more. Most business owners probably don't have the design, aptitude to make a display ad, but Google actually allows you to load in your website URL, and it will make display ads for you. And they're not professionally designed, but a lot of people might say, well, the budget I have and where my business is, I'd like to use those. So you can get display advertising started, and Google will just charge you when people click on those display ads, and it's a very efficient way to introduce, more visual, because let's face it, text ads in the search channel, while they might be efficient, they don't build your brand. They're not, they don't use color and your design fonts and things like that make your business brand what it is. So again, there I would say Google and Facebook offer huge audiences and allow you to go in and start running a display budget for dollars a day, and it's very easy to test, one or two promises or brand propositions for your business to see which one, which of these display ads do they like, which message do they like.
Yeah, just to kind of wrap that idea up, we've talked about a lot of different channels, from SEO to paid search, paid social media development, etc. We measure all of this through Google Analytics. There are other analytics packages out there, obviously, but we often recommend Google Analytics because it's very robust, it's free. There's a great report right on the left-hand side that lets you check your sources of traffic. So you can look at the source and the medium. And so through your various marketing tactics, you can really get a good sense of how they're performing on your website there. I'm often looking at just the number of visitors we get per channel, and then the types of engagement that we get from those individual channels. So typically organic search tends to be a really great source. People are searching for very specific keywords. They find your website on Google and they come to your website. So we often see great engagement rates from organic. And then so testing some of your other paid channels against your organic channels to see how well they're performing, and ultimately to really get a sense of a return on investment for your media channels. Google Analytics is great for that. There's a ton of data. You can break it down by day of week, hour a day, really get a sense of how your media is functioning. And then it allows you to optimize your media ultimately. If you see that, hey, I pay $10 a day on Mondays and no one ever converts. No one ever buys anything on my website. No one ever contacts me. Maybe scale off on your Monday marketing and refine your AdWords so that you've got it more focused to let's say Friday is a big business day for you. You can really kind of optimize your media for that. And we do this on an enterprise level on a mass scale. So it's very refined targeting, very goal-oriented marketing. So, yeah.
That was tough to see, so yeah. That's why I just switched it. But I think the most outstanding thing about Google Analytics is you can go into Google Analytics and tell the software what good is. Because the number one question I've got in my career as I've done digital media and regular media is you're presenting a stat to the customer, a statistic to the customer, and you know, sometimes forget that they don't have, you know, all the metrics or the things we call what we do, and they'll just say, is that good? So it might go something like this. The click-through rate was 3.5%, or, you know, we delivered 1,000 people to your website, and, you know, they would say, is that good? So one of the great things about Google Analytics is you can go into Google Analytics and say, my success metric is I want people to download my white paper. If they download my white paper, they're, you know, I'm moving the ball along, or I want them to sign up for my newsletter so I can capture their email address. That is a successful visit on my website. And I would say out of 100 companies that we work with, 15 or 20 might actually have what does a good website visit look like,
Goals.
you know, goals, and have some definition to
Right.
that. Otherwise, it's just, well, they came to my website, isn't that good? It's like, yeah, it's good, but you know, not necessarily a precursor to business. So that's an outstanding feature of Google Analytics, and I would recommend if you do use it, that you make an attempt to go into your goals and set up a goal that allow you to analyze your integrated marketing and your channels. Without that, you wouldn't get, you know, what Scott was trying to show here in this visual is that's the story of customer development right there between social, organic search, email, display, direct referrals. Those are links, you know, from Better Business, you know, pages and businesses out there that are linking to your website. And when you have a defined goal, you can look at your channel mix and your integrated marketing and say, like this would tell us, hey, display and email is really paying off for me. I think I'm going to keep doing that. I only have $5,000 next year or next quarter, and I'm definitely going to keep building my email program because that, you know, that's what's working. And I think when you get into larger enterprises, you know, this audience here today isn't dealing, you know, with larger budgets, but when you get into that, it's invaluable to see the interrelationship, because what I mentioned earlier, if you pull out social, that could have a calamitous impact on your display and email advertising. So the smart marketer doesn't look at these things in isolation, but, you know, looks to see if, hey, you know, my email program suffered, oh, look, you know, I'm not getting as many organic search people for whatever reason like I was last year, and, you know, you can improve that and lift all your channels.
Yep. Yeah, we often talk about like the mixing board, you know, that you get to kind of move your channels around, move your mix based on what's working. So, you know, if paid search is working great for you, up that mix. You know, if display is not working for you, you can back off on that. So it's a constant mix and looking at the various channels that are working for you.
All right, we got
Great.
a minute break there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Please join me in thanking Paul and Scott for their talk.
All right, I let it keep going a little bit there because there's some good information coming in because we're a smaller group. We've still got about 7 minutes or so we're going to pass the microphone around real quick and introduce yourself. If you have a quick ask or need, we get around the room in a few minutes here. And then I know Paul and Scott will stick around for a few minutes, so if you have a few questions, I've got some data questions that I'd love to get answered. So please feel free to stick around and network, and we'll just start real quick and go around the room.
You just stand up and don't know if we need this.
You can do it. It helps.
Hi, my name's Lev Wood. I work for a software company here in Ann Arbor called MS2. Our software is a database application that maps and manages transportation data.
I am Dr. Thomas Blackwell with Ember International. What we're looking for is people who are looking for a unique gift idea for the Christmas vacation. Check with us.
Hi, I'm Willa Philly, and I'm just really learning about this stuff because I want to get involved either with nonprofit work or doing my own company.
Sure. Oh, great.
Hi, I'm Nancy Rojas Fairley. I am a creative and marketing consultant out of Jackson, and I have a range of different clients, and so
regarding their sizes and their capabilities, so I really appreciate what you did today. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your talk. It was really great. My name is Janelle Reichman. I'm an independent web designer, developer, and graphic designer. And I work mainly with independents and sole proprietors and small businesses.
My name is George Pariso, and I make my clients cry. I make them cry by the stories I tell about them through film and video, because I believe that great stories inspire people to do great things. My studio is Brainstream Creative. Our mission is to find and tell great stories, and I look forward to making more people cry in 2017.
That won't be hard.
Hello, I'm Samantha. I'm Samantha. I work with the Ann Arbor Area Transportation Authority, and I work with my team doing marketing, social media, all of that fun stuff.
Hi, my name is Debbie Freer, and I'm the Community Outreach Coordinator for the Ann Arbor Area Transportation Authority. I do community outreach and government outreach.
Hi, I'm Lindsay Johnson, and I'm a WordPress developer and graphic designer at 3.7 Designs.
Hi, I'm Ross, also with 3.7 Designs. We're a local design firm, and we help people be more successful online and off.
I'm Brian Christian with a local consulting firm called Arbor. We do innovation consulting for large companies. And Ross and Lindsay 3.7 have been doing great work with us on our website. But we're thinking about the broader picture of digital marketing, and we just got to get better. So thanks for your time.
Yeah, sure.
Hi, I'm Amy Ma. I work in alternative energy and digital publishing.
I'm Roger Rayle. I'm a venture catalyst, so I help with getting a lot of people and ideas together in the entrepreneurial community and other worthy events. I do a lot of live stream recording of video. We had a couple glitches here today, but I'll be editing this back together and reposting it. Also, tonight is our December Ann Arbor Video Interest Group meeting, so if you're interested in using video in any way in your marketing, your business, this is a good place to start. It's A2VIG, Ann Arbor Video Interest Group.org. So that'll be tonight at Carlisle's at 6:30 out in Jackson Road. And here's Carter.
I'm Carter Sherlin, Frog Print Studios, and I'm a commercial, editorial, and portrait photographer, videographer, drone pilot. Just about anything except for words. If you're a runner, you've probably seen me because I'm a Michigan runner, I'm a senior photographer, Michigan golfer. So if you go to golf tournaments, you've probably seen me as well.
Are you in the drone racing league yet?
No.
All right, thanks guys. I'm Jim Musial. In addition to helping run LA2M, I also do digital consulting for web and mobile development, so I'd love to talk to you if you need help. If your website needs optimization, I'd be happy to talk to you about it. I failed to say something, and I want to come back to our volunteers. 3.7 Designs, Ross and Lindsay, they have designed and managed the website for LA2M, so thank you to you guys, appreciate that. If you get a chance, check out LA2M.org. Roger has posted all our videos there, so today's talk will be there, so if you want to go back and look at it, as well as previous archive talks are there as well. Carter will be posting the photographs, so we appreciate it. Again, thank you for being here again. Thanks to Paul and Scott for sharing today again. If you join me, thank them again. And then one last announcement. Again, thank you for being here. Mark your calendars. January 11th is our next session. We've been waiting a couple years and trying to get them here. We're finally going to have Zingerman's here. Brad Pederman from the Zingerman's online mail order division does the marketing for them. Will be here, our speaker for January. So it'll be a great topic. So make sure you mark your calendars, bring somebody with you, and we'll see you again next month. Thanks. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks for being here. The weather kept some people away, but the funny thing is, we'll see online how many people start hitting the video.
Yeah, right. That's great.
Yeah.